G'day, my name's Chris from Pixel Bakery, and I'm the lead developer on Paper Nebula.
And my name's Anne-Marie, and I'm also obviously with Pixel Bakery, and I am the art director here on Paper Nebula, which we're showing you today.
So let's get started. We're sitting here at the main lab screen very early in the game. We can see the main menu that we can use to equip various things in our ship. It's broken down between the weapon mounts for the front, the wing and the tail. You can equip ultimate weapons, shields and hull. The only other real menu option here is the destruction counter. You can see we'll play just a tiny bit here. We've started killing some of the base enemies and lost a couple of drones. We're not going to show you the UI, the AI or the player character just yet, but we're just going to get stuck straight in. So I'm going to launch our ship. Alright, so it's a roguelike and it starts off at Zone 1 every single time. And the idea being we'll collect, shoot through the enemies, earn some buffs, and level 1 will get easier and easier as we go. We've already seen a couple of ships already. Anne-Marie, did you want to tell us a little bit about the design process and what exactly we're looking at?
Yeah, so obviously we went with a very strong theme, having a paper nebula. We tried to keep everything within that nebula being made of paper. So our bad guy ships are little stickers there, as you can see, and right up to the nebula itself, which is like a tissue paper, and our paper plane itself flying through.
Some have suggested that, paper planes aren't usually found in nebulas. Was that a large problem in the design process?
It's a fictional nebula, Chris, so we'll go with no, it really wasn't.
Oh, that's just as well, given how close to launch we are. We would hate to change it all now. I'm working my way through level 1. As you can see, I couldn't possibly probably clean up every single opponent right now just with the base cannon my ship has. It's a very, boxed vertical scroller. You're not going anywhere that you can't see on the screen, and we're just slowly progressing through. We've got these turrets that kind of track you wherever you go and just take short shots at you. You've got the sea bunnies zipping past. They're really fodder, but you can crash into them. Crashing obviously does a little bit more damage than taking a single hit. Most shots hurt you once, whereas a crash hurts you for about 3 points.
So I noticed that it is quite soft at the start, giving the player a chance to actually get into the game there.
Yeah, well, it's meant to be. It helps if you're quite good at it, I guess. I was expecting to get a little bit further on that run, given that I played this once or twice before, and developed the levels, and I kind of know what's coming. But yeah, talking and playing is more than enough for me. Anyway, here we are back at the lab. You don't always have an interaction with the AI computer here, but in this case we've triggered one. It's clearly very positive and happy about it. Gravy, we're going to have a main character pop up now. Do you want to tell us a little bit about her?
Yeah, so this is Bella. The idea for her is she's a little bit of a loner, a strong person who's been stuck out in this nebula by herself. She stumbles across a lab and basically you have interactions with the AI as you go. Stumbling
across the lab is a great term for breaking into one, so I like that. I'll use that if I ever need it in the future. As you progress and you destroy more ships, the AI is able to collect data from your drone of what it's destroying and analyze that data and try to help your drone manufacturing lab develop better weapons effectively. So we can see here we've killed enough sea bunnies that it's been able to restore some more data to the drone lab. And we've been able to repair some files and it's about to give us a buff. And here we go. Light hull plating, which in my case, having just crashed directly into a sea bunny, the easiest player, is probably pretty helpful. Skipping through all the text, as I think most people do, but I do like this line here. Thanks to a dialogue editor, Teresa, but yeah, I like accusing an AI of being sassy. Anyway, skipping on through. Let's just jump on. We can see we've got something new here under hull because we've got this yellowy orange background around it. And there we go. We can see we've got light hull plating. We've equipped it there to our paper plane. You can always remove it if you like a challenge, but personally I'll leave it on. And we can even have a look and see. There we go. Yep, we did kill more than the total count of 250, which is why we saw that scene. As you can see, we've got a bit further to go. If you were watching closely when I first looked, turrets weren't here because we hadn't killed a single one. So these counters only turn up as you get kills. There's no direct mapping. You can have a snoop around what you could have as an ultimate, but there's nothing that'll actually tell you how to unlock it till you get there. So you can certainly see what's possible, but you can't work out how to get there until you've ground through the levels or worked it out. There are little hints in what certain enemies have, but that's probably a better job for me to describe. But I might just jump back in and see if the extra hull plating does any good whatsoever, and we can reach the end of the level 1 in the first boss. You can probably see here the health. I now have 2 full squares. Anne-Marie, did you want to tell me about the squares?
So the squares, so our health is basically a little piece of paper. And as we lose health, little pieces of the paper gets folded down and we lose a little bit of our health.
Now, I'd say I'll take a single shot just to show that, but why don't we wait till I get shot and then I'll claim that's why. So anyway, the start really should just be a light kind of introduction, warming up, faster and faster. And I haven't tried to make it just all action all the time. Here, I'll take a single shot. There we go. So we'll see the folder's been, the piece of paper up in the top left's been folded twice now, because I managed to get hit twice. And I think if you fold a piece of paper 4 times, it disappears. That's a well-known physical phenomenon in nebulas, so no difference there. Anyway, you can see as I shoot the ships, they have this cute little shake effect. Not as obvious on the turrets, but anything leaving a trail, like those larger sea angels, it's quite good. You can see you really see the shake that it does as it takes the damage. Of course, you don't see it on the sea bunnies because they take 1 hit to kill. So yeah, they just explode instead. The explosions actually took quite a bit of work and did quite a few revisions. It's not your normal, red fire explosion gravy. What was the thought behind the colour scheme for these explosions? And by gravy, I mean Anne-Marie.
Yes, sorry. We basically kept the same.
I'm never reaching the first boss.
Yeah, you're.
Here's the infinity.
Okay, there we go. Yep. We'll try and talk while you're invincible. We kept a really strong colour palette throughout the whole game, as you'll see. Pretty much everything in the game has those same sort of bright neon-y colours as the bad guy ships, and the explosions are no exception. So we basically kept them to be paper, as a screwed up paper ball, and kept the colours matching the rest of the game.
And there we go again. I think what we might do now, given the lack of progress I'm making, is jump through to a different save game where we have quite a few unlocks available.
That's a good idea.
And just show how it's been designed so that when you do get some of the weapons from passing the first boss or the second boss or getting enough kills, what you can actually, how it changes how level 1 even plays. So if we just jump back to game select, notice this one, the score's probably going to get updated soon, but you can see I've definitely had a bit more game time in this game over here. Yeah,
there's a few little AI things that are going to update before game launches next month.
And now we can equip some things. So I might take a tri-shot. So instead of 1 shot at the front, I'll have 3, thank you. Wing mounts, I'd love dual cannons on the wings. Tail mounts, absolutely. I'll take the swarm cannons, thank you very much. Ultimate. The pulse ultimate's probably more powerful, but the ship duplication's just so fun.
It's so much fun.
Shields, do I want shields or to regenerate? I think I'll take the regeneration. I can't decide which one's more powerful, actually. They're both...
I think it depends on gameplay.
Oh, and then the only thing I haven't unlocked is heavy hull plating, which, going by how I've been playing recently, is really the thing I need the most. All right, and yeah, let's jump straight back in. And I'd like to think, with almost every unlock in the game, I can now reach at least the first boss. And now, killing every single ship on the screen really, it's gone from, I don't think that's possible, to that's really not much of a problem. And yeah, now we can see we've got quite a little bit of weight here between the waves of ships, simply because, well, when you started the game on level 1, you needed that time to make it possible to get through. I might even risk it and take 1 point of damage, just so we can see the regen kick in. And of course, now in the top right, we've got the alt bar. Amory, do you want to tell us about the many revisions we made to that alt bar? And why it is the way it is and where it sits and all that?
Oh, so, I mean, originally we started with a very stereotypical alt bar that had lots of little effects happening in it. So much so that it almost crashed the first person's computer when they tried to play.
We did. We filled it full of many sparkly particle effects, and then we upped it to the many thousand to get the look we were after. And suddenly, when you were running it on a brand new PC, it didn't run as well as we would have liked, given it's a pretty low requirement type of game for a computer normally.
Yeah, and then we sort of had it moving way more like your traditional. Sorry, I'm so distracted.
The ultimate. It is really fun.
It's so good. Sorry. Yeah, had it more like a lava-y situation, and it wasn't working. We realised it just didn't match the gameplay. Keeping things simple and to the point is really, I think, what makes this game so great and addictive.
Yeah, it is surprisingly. That is the feedback we've had most from people who've tried it. They'll often say, arcade game or retro or these kind of things aren't my thing or aren't my thing anymore. And then about 3 or 4 minutes later, they say, but it's really addictive. As they have another go. So this here's the boss. I've reached it. You normally have to shoot each component in order 3 or 4 times. Given that every time I shoot, I get 5 bullets, it becomes a bit of a cakewalk. So we can quickly get through and move on to the harder level. If the...
Molly might be the first and the easiest boss, but I think they're one of my favourites just because of the way that they move, and that gas that they let off is just so great.
Yeah. Tell me about the tape on the screen. Why is it?
Oh, so if you collect that, you'll get a bit of health back, which obviously is going to be really helpful by the time you get to the end of each level.
Fair enough. And now you started to see a new ship. I tried not to shoot it because I just wanted to show its shooting effect because it's quite horrifying. It becomes quite a problem when you get more than 1 or 2 on the screen, so you do want to kind of target them quite fast. But yeah, the pulse ships. And maybe you can talk about the naming conventions, because I call it a pulse ship because it pulses when it shoots, but I wasn't the one who really picked the design or what they are, so maybe Gravy could...
Well, I refer to that one as
could tell me a bit
Murray, and that's because each of our ships, for some reason, I decided to base off sea creatures. I think it came at the start when we were talking about doing a space game, thinking about the space and sea connection, which so many people have done that's been never done before. However, I did keep that little piece when we went through into the paper idea. So all our ships on the bad guy side are all based on sea creatures.
So I think, when people are asking, well, why are they stickers or why are they paper, you can't take them particularly seriously unless they also ask you why are they sea creature based.
Yeah.
That's really what they should be asking about, I think.
Well, I mean, the paper makes sense with the whole theme of the game, whereas the sea creatures are just a flow over from an original concept.
Yeah, it's just the original art concepts and stylings, really. But we liked it, so it stuck. Again, so where are we now? We're about level 2, halfway through. It is getting a little harder. Certainly, if you didn't have almost every unlock in the game, you would find it very challenging to deal with more than 1 or 2 of these pulse ships or Murrays at the same time. But yeah, while the levels are programmed and designed, there's a lot of randomness in exactly where they come out, their path, the number of them, but also the most variable thing is when they shoot. There's a lot of random rolls to determine exactly when you shoot, It's a little dice-based the way I programmed it. Like, there's actually some code on some of them that says, roll that random number needs to be higher than 8 to be able to fire or to be able to do whatever they plan to do. Otherwise, nothing. So it's quite interesting. Sometimes you'll see a ship fire and fire and fire.
You're destroying those lines before we get to see them.
I know, but otherwise I'm going to die. And after the last 2 deaths, I've got a little bit of pride. So the demo for this game we just released only a couple of days ago. It's got a completely custom level, so you would have actually seen more ships than what we've seen to date in these first 2 levels. But it doesn't reveal everything, obviously, but it gives you a pretty good flavour of the game. It's a pretty good run. It ends with the boss, Molly, the one you've already seen. And I think it gives a really good sample, and we've left a lot of the unlocks. If you're crazy enough to die X number of times or beat all the turrets, you will get all the conversation and the buff that you would get from the game otherwise, from the full game.
You do also come in with a little bit unlocked already, so it's not like you come in. Yes, we
unlock a couple of things. We actually started with unlocking quite a few things, and then when Anne-Marie here finished the demo in 3 minutes, we decided perhaps not. This is my favourite ship. I call it the laser line, or Puffy, I think is what we both started calling it, because Puffy's such a great name. But
well, it's based off a pufferfish.
Yeah, it makes a lot of sense. And as we know, they all fire lasers, so it's pretty intuitive. And Puffy's, I think it's the only ship in the game that gets a shield. That just makes it that little harder to knock out as it flies at you when it comes down like that. I'll try to show this line.
You've got invincibility on it.
I do. I didn't even have to shoot one to show this. No. And I show some of the patterns as they fly through. So there's certain loop-the-loops use various shapes the ships make, which make them predictable, but also let you work at getting better and better on the level. We'll have some randomness. Yes.
It's also extremely satisfying if you can work out the point in screen to sit and just shoot and watch them all disappear.
I know that's probably taking us to about the 15-minute cap where we're just trying to give you a bit of a flavour of the game, but I am keen if we can just make it through to one more boss. I believe we've already reached level 3. There's a boss every second level, so level 2 was just a bunch of those lines of the Sea Angels, whereas if we get to the end of this one, we will see the second boss. What you're not seeing, because we're playing under my account, is some of the achievements you've been able to unlock. There's some normal ones, but there's also a few snarky ones in there, so look out for them.
There's a few hidden ones.
There's also a few hidden ones. And here we are, the final boss. Oh, not the final boss. Oh, God.
That's it, game over.
Yeah, that's it. You've really... No need to play the demo or buy it. You've seen everything now. No, and this is C-Pen, and it has a couple of stages of how it likes to attack. Again, I'm making it look pretty easy simply because every shot I do, I get 5 shots. Plus the swarm cannons that trigger every so often. And this is probably where I'm going to die after saying it's easy, because now we've got to the final 4 arms, we now have tracking shots coming after us, which mean my job's more about getting a chance to take out the arms than it is to, well, without getting hit. And as you reduce the arms, the number of things that can shoot at you reduce. So I've already knocked out. There we go. So there we go. We think we're won, and no. And here we go. Again, playing with the buffs that you've got by the time you've reached, I don't know, level 5, level 6 kind of thing. And also knocked out quite a few ships. So you probably noticed it's getting harder for me, but yeah, that's a quick example and flavour of Paper Nebula, and I hope we've given you some insights. It's from our company, Pixel Bakery. It's our first full release on Steam, and it's due out on October 20th.
Yeah, so not long.
No, not long at all.
So as you can see, there's still a few little tweaks going on, but we're very close to finish.
Yeah, and it's exciting. It's come together rather well.
But yeah, the demo's there now, so go download it and have some fun.
Yep, download the demo. Feel free to wishlist us. That would be quite good.
Thanks for listening to us.
Thanks very much.